I bow to the Almighty in my mind, speech and body. Vanakkam, a quick recap. We are learning the Ezhuthukkal or alphabets of the Tamil language. The 247 Ezhuthukkal are classified into Mudal Ezhuthukkal or the foundation letters and the Sarbu Ezhuthukkal or the dependent letters which arise from the foundation letters. The 12 Uyir Ezhuthukkal and 18 Mei Ezhuthukkal together make the 30 Mudal Ezhuthukkal. All the Uyir Ezhuthukkal arise from the sound made in the throat area, which is the sound of A. And we saw how to alter the sound A to get the other 5 Uyir Ezhuthukkal. The Ezhuthu E is born in the middle of the mouth and U is born in the front end of the mouth. But note that they are all the modifications of the base sound A. We learned that Mathirai is the time taken to pronounce one Ezhuthu, and roughly one Mathirai is equal to the time that we take to blink our eye or to make a clicking sound when we snap our fingers. The Ezhuthukkal with one Mathirai are called as Kuril Ezhuthukkal, and those with two Mathirais are called as Nedil Ezhuthukkal. And we saw the logic behind the arrangement of the 6 Uyir Ezhuthukkal as A, I, I, U in the Agaradi. Today we will move to the other Ezhuthukkal. The first 6 Uyir Ezhuthukkal are A, I, U. The next Uyir Ezhuthu is a combination of A and I. We take half the sound of A and half the sound of I and we try to combine them and find a middle sound. Let's see what we get. A, I, A. We get the sound A. And when I say this sound for one Mathirai, we get the Kuril Ezhuthu A. So it's neither A nor I, but somewhere in the middle of A and I, A. And this is how it looks. And it is a Kuril Ezhuthu and it is pronounced for one Mathirai. And when we stretch the sound of A to 2 Mathirais, we get the next Ezhuthu, which is the Nedil A. This is the Nedil Ezhuthu A, and it is now placed right beside the Kuril partner. So in the Agaradi, now we have A, I, U, A. And that brings us to a total of 8 Ezhuthukkal. The next Ezhuthu is also a combination of A and I, but now we take a little bit of the sound of A and more of the sound of I. Let's try A, I. We get the sound I. And this is the next Uyir Ezhuthu I, and this is how it looks. It is also pronounced for 2 Mathirais. It is a Nedil Ezhuthu by itself and there is no Kuril partner for it. So let's place the I after the A in the Agaradi. Let's move to the next Ezhuthu. The next Ezhuthu is a combination of A and U. So just as before, we will first combine the two sounds in equal amounts and find a middle sound. So A, U, and the middle sound is O. It's neither A nor U, but a middle sound O. And this is the next Uyir Ezhuthu and this is how it looks. It is pronounced for one Mathirai, O. And when we stretch it for 2 Mathirais, we get the next Uyir Ezhuthu O. This is the Nedil O and it is pronounced for 2 Mathirais. So now we have the 11 Uyir Ezhuthukkal. A, I, U, A, I, O. Let's move to the last Uyir Ezhuthu. The last Uyir Ezhuthu is a combination of A and U, but now we take a small portion of A and a large portion of U. So A, U, Ow. We get the sound Ow. And this is the next Uyir Ezhuthu Ow, and this is how it looks. It is pronounced for 2 Mathirais. So just like the Ezhuthu I, it is a lonely Nedil Ezhuthu which doesn't have a Kuril partner. Okay, so now we have successfully completed the 12 Uyir Ezhuthukkal as follows. A, I, U, U, A, I, O, Au. Now let us see how to write these எழுத்துக்கள். We will start with the எழுத்து A. To do that, let me also take my pen. So we start with a small circle that goes clockwise. We go up in a side semicircle. Continue the stroke to draw a sleeping line. Now take off your hand and add a standing line here. And this is the குறில் எழுத்து A. Once again, we start with a small circle that goes clockwise. You go up in a side semicircle. Continue to draw a sleeping line. Take off your hand and add a standing line here. And this is the குறில் எழுத்து A. To write the நெடில் A, we start with the குறில் A like this. And now we add a slanting line here. And this is the நெடில் A. Once again, we start with the குறில் A like this. And now we add a slanting line in the end over here. And this is the நெடில் எழுத்து A. Our next எழுத்து is the எழுத்து I, the நெடில் எழுத்து I. To write this, we start with a small circle that goes clockwise. You go up and down to make a semicircle, and another up and down to make another semicircle. Now you continue the stroke to a sleeping line, and now you go down and up, another down and up, and this is the எழுத்து I. This looks like the English letter M and W joined together by a sleeping line. And so yeah, that's the நெடில் எழுத்து I. Let's try this one more time. We start with a small circle that goes clockwise. We go up and down, and one more up and down. Continue that to a sleeping line and go down and up and down and up. And that is the நெடில் எழுத்து I. Our next எழுத்து is the எழுத்து O. Okay, so to write this, we start with a small semicircle that goes clockwise. You go up and draw another semicircle like this. You go out to draw a semicircle and come down in a smooth curve like a fish hook. And that's the குறில் எழுத்து O. Let's try this one more time. We start with a small circle that goes clockwise. You go up and draw a semicircle like this. You go out to draw a semicircle. Come down in a smooth curve like a fish hook, and that is your குறில் எழுத்து O. To make this நெடில் O is very simple. We start with the குறில் O like this and add a small circle in the end, and this is the நெடில் O. Let's try this once again. We start with a குறில் O, so start with a small circle that goes clockwise, go up and draw a semicircle, go out with a semicircle and draw a fish hook. And to make this நெடில், we draw a small circle in the end like this, and this is the நெடில் எழுத்து O. Our last எழுத்து is the எழுத்து Au. As you can see, it has two symbols next to each other. The first symbol is what we learned just now. It is a குறில் O, and the next symbol is the one that we used in writing the நெடில் U. We wrote this symbol on the sleeping line of the நெடில் U. So these two together make the sound Au. Let's write this. So we start with the குறில் எழுத்து O. We start with a small semicircle that goes clockwise. You go up and draw another semicircle. You go out and draw a semicircle and come down in a smooth curve like a fish hook. And beside the O, we write another symbol. So we start with a small semicircle that goes clockwise. You go up and draw a semicircle, and you go up and continue to a sleeping line. Take off your hand and add a standing line here. And this எழுத்து is the எழுத்து Au, which has two மாத்திரைs. Let's try this one more time. We start with the எழுத்து O like this, and beside the O we start a small semicircle that goes clockwise. Go up and draw a semicircle, go up and continue to a sleeping line. Take off your hand and add a standing line. And this is the எழுத்து Au. And that brings us to the end of the உயிர் எழுத்துக்கள். So we have now covered all the 12 உயிர் எழுத்துக்கள். A, I, U, A, I, O, and Au. I encourage you to practice all of this at home. I will give you two small exercises to test your learning. In the first exercise, you will match the sound on the left hand side, the sound that the English alphabets make, to the Tamil eduthu on the right. See if you can try this. And this is the exercise 2. Here I have listed some English words, and I would like you to separate this English word into syllables, and you take the first syllable and write the closest match of the same sound in the Tamil eduthu. For example, the first word I have is again. I can split this as again, and the first syllable is a. So the closest Tamil eduthu which I can identify is the sound a. So I'm going to match this again word to a. The first syllable matches the Tamil eduthu a. So like this, you try to identify what is the closest Tamil eduthu that you can match for the first syllable of this English word. I have Eskimo, owl, aeroplane, ask, enough, ego, under, Uzbekistan, ooze, end, ice cream, ozone, and ouch. And here are my answers. This is my interpretation of the sounds. Your answers should be something close to this. And if you have got everything right, you have mastered the Uyir Ezhuthukkal, and we are ready to move to the Mei Ezhuthukkal. We will finish off here, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you. Nandri Vanakkam.